Hello everyone. In this tutorial video, I will create a CAP business service with Node.js using Visual Studio Code. This tutorial has been taken from the SAP Learning series, and in this tutorial, you will learn how to setting up the environment, defining data model. The data model, you know that a simple data model using a code data service, which is a crucial part of the CAP framework, and this model will serve as the foundations for your business service. And we'll also show how to create a service, how to developments locally and deploy into the database. And for that database, I will use the SQLite database. And overall, and you also see how to add custom handlers, so serve the request, and also how to add the logic. So let's start. So I just open the Visual Studio Code. So from here you have to find out a open folder. This PC. So basically that is my project folder. Now I have to set up my local development environment. So those type of things is not important. So I'm going to the terminal. This is not required. So new terminal. So now I am in project directory. In that project directory, I have to install the CDS development toolkit. So that is just for one-time activities. You don't need to install every time. So it also depends on the network. Sometimes it will take time, but you can see that is done. So now you can also check the CDS just for checking purpose that your CDF is good and it's working fine. Then also you have to check and you have to install the VS Code extension. So we have to go there and we have to check that is SAP CDS language. So you can see that is already installed in my VS Code. So in your case, you need to just install. You will find that, for example, you will find that there is an install button. So you need to just install and it will install. So in my case, it's already installed, so no need to install again. So that is a part of that install CDS language support. And now we have to start project. So we have to go back to our project folder, and we are already in the project directory. So if you want to start any project, so in the CDS project, that is always start with CDS, then INIT, and after that you have to put your project name. This project name is my bookshop. So it's already created a project. In the project you will find that basically there are 3 folders. Sorry. So that is app. App folder is all related with the application's UI perspective, and DB folder is related with the database related activities. And like for example, if you create the data file, if you loads data, so everything will be stored in the DB folder. And you know that CAP project is all about service based, so all type of service will be stored here. And if we want to create a new service, then also it will store here, and it will also create a projects. In that project you can see that all dependencies, CDS, Express, everything is there. So if you so for example, like this projects is depends on SAP CDS and Express edition. So that is the purpose we need to install that project. So that is the reason, if you want to install project, that you just run the npm node package management install. So basically this problem is occurred because I have created project my books, but currently my location in the project. So either I can go from here, or what we can do, I have to open folder, then see projects, my books. Okay, so now I am in my project folder which I just created, and now we have to go to the terminal. So now you can see that we are in the project folder. So now we can check the package, everything is fine. So now what need to do, we have to install all dependency. Okay, it will start installation and it may take time, but we have to wait. Okay, so now you can see that it will create another folder that is called the node module, and node module you will find everything. Like if you go to like SAP CDS, so if you go to this node module SAP CDS, you can find everything here. So in your application, if you want to any entity related information from the command, so you can just import from here. So now what we need to do, we can execute the CDS watch. So basically this command will start a CDS server, and whenever you feed your project with new comments, everything, then it will just it will update, and it will also update the new server, and it will also automatically restart the server. So it is basically this is a good command to check your service and everything when you create. So now what need to do, we have to create a service. So as I told you that if we want to create a service, then we have to go to the service location, and like that is called cat .cds. So automatically this CDS watch is already understand that there is a service. So what I can do, I can open that service. So this is coming, this page is coming basically from this service location, because the CDS automatically understand that there is a service, but currently actually there is no data or nothing. We have to create a entity. So for this purpose, now I am going to create a service using SAP CDS it should be SAP CDS so this command actually it is coming from the SAP CDS command. So if I go to the Node module, then it's SAP and then CDS and that command. So in that from that command we will use some currency or country and manage. So if you go to the command, you can find that you will find that country is there and also managed, this also there. So this manage is basically used for the additional column, so like create a time and the create by and modified time and modified byte. So those type of information you can add on your activities. So if we go back, so that is the service. Now I have to create an entity. Its name is books, and that key ID integer and title localized string auto just to stock so I have created one entity. You know that entity means that just a table with the four field. So that is the ID number and that is the title, and I use the localized. Localized use just for the translation purpose from one language to another. So in the books, it title may be different in different language. So that purpose you need to change the title. So that's why I use the localized string. And this column, this table is connection association to the authors table. So that's the link, but still there is no authors table, so that's why there is an error. So now what I need to do, I have to create another entity authors. So now you can see the error is gone. So now key ID integer and name string books association to many is just authors and books, that is one to many relationship with the books on books dot author self and so basically this two is done. Format document. So there is another entity orders manage key ID book association to books country amount integer. So basically this managed, as I told you, is coming from that common, and it will also add the additional field like created at, created by, modified at, modified by, and I have also add some country. This country also coming from this common. So if you add this common CDS file, that you will find that most of the things are developed by the SAP, and you can just use that. So CDS already restart the service. CDS watch, as this command is already there. So if I so from here so now you can see that this page is coming. Basically, this page is coming from the CDS, and this is under the service folder. So this actually understand that that is the service, but it is not showing. I also created some entity, but this entity it is not showing in the page, because actually I didn't define the service name. So if I define that service name like service catalog service this and this, so see automatically you can check that this everything is showing here. So the interesting part is that if you run that CDS service, you don't need to start the service again and again. It will automatically start and it will update your data. So this part is done, but if you click on that like books, the value is not there because still there is no data. There is also no data, and nothing is there because all value is null. So what we have to do, we have to provide some mock data into that entity so that you can see the data. So this part is provide mock data. So in the service folder, I am creating like get service.js and data start it module dot export service, and then this. So now actually we have to provide some service. So I am just copying from this sample data. So, and I also saved so now actually if I go there, so basically that is the mock data in that service. So if I go book, so see you can see that automatically this data is coming. So basically you don't need to do insert or you don't need to do anything. It will automatically match this data with that service you have created, and it will automatically insert data and it will show a data. So another thing is that like this is for books and authors, so this is done. If we want to change something like just save, so it will automatically change here. So basically it insert and it's showing data. So this data actually use the SAP use that is called H2 in-memory database. And if you stop this application, this data everything will vanish or it will delete it. so it is not the persistent data, or it is not the it is not the fixed data. So that's the reason in that project I will also show you how to add some persistent data and how to we deploy in the SQLite. So now in this project, what I have done, this is the service. So actually that is the service, and inside that service we have created some entity, but as per SAP standard is not the good practice. This entity should be separate, and it should be in the DB folder. So in DB folder I am creating another file that is called data model.cds. So in that data model I am copying everything from here to that data model, and also this one, otherwise it will get some error. So this is service, sorry, so this is in the data model. But we also give a name, or that is called the namespace, that is namespace db. It's showing by default, but it should be my bookshop. So this data model is ready. So that is my namespace, and that using I am using country and manage from the p-defines, which is already defined by the SAP, and after that I included some tables. But if you go to the service, this is empty, and actually there is nothing, because I just remove everything from the service. But I have to add here, so I have to start with using from. It's from this data model, and this is, that is my dot bookshop as my, so that in my projects in the service I can just use only the my. So now that is the service catalog and entity books, read only as projection on my dot books. So here actually I included one table, so it just only the books. You can see that is only the books. Actually I didn't stop the service, so still data is there. The same way I have to add other two projects, so it should be methods. This should be authors, and this is order. Save and just format. So everything is done. You can see that that is the OData model and that is the version, and the some metadata. Metadata is the skeleton of the all tables. Everything is there, and if you go to the books, you can see that data, and also you can see that like if you it's also built the Fury applications. So from here, if you can select this, you can those it's not built properly. We need some configuration, but basically we can check from here that our data is there. So we have included data only for the books and authors. So this part is done. Now we have to add some initial data. So that is the reason we have to create some in the DB folder. So that is the namespace, that is the CSV, and that is my namespace. This is my namespace, and after that, that is the authors, that is the table name. So if your format is okay, then you will get that automatically data will be loaded. So I am getting some data, save, and the same way I am creating another CSV. Books, and save. So now it's already loaded, and we can test our service. Books is there. Actually, we can stop the service and but you can see that basically this data is still coming from this mock data. So what I can do, I can just simply delete this. Well, because actually we don't want this. So now if I start the service, you can see now this data actually coming from that CSV data, because the CDS automatically loaded data into database, is owned in-memory database, and it is showing the data. So now if I change something, like here you can see that is 22. If I make 20 or 55. It will automatically update. So if I see, it's automatically update to 55. So this part is done. You understand that how it is data loaded from the CSV and how it is showing using the CDS CDS file, and how it is showing by the watch location using the CDS watch. So now now it's time to add some persistent data. So that is the reason currently still the CDS is running. I'm closing. So now I have to, so what I can do, I have to install the SQLite database. That is this, you know, that SQLite database is very just for the very small applications. So that is the reason I have to install the SQLite database. So npm SQLite 3. Okay, so it's a one-time activities for this project. So you have to wait for this. So it's already done. So now what need to do, we have to create a database, or that is called the deploy. So that's the reason what I need to do. I have to execute CDS deploy to where you want to deploy. I want to deploy in the SQLite DB. That is the DB folder, and that is the project that is called my bookshop.db. So execute, and you can find that this database also created with that data. So if you want to view the data, you need to install some SQLite viewer here, like so. You can install anything like SQLite. So for my projects, I already installed the SQLite viewer. So you can install anything to view the data from that database. So go back here. If I open, so as I already have installed SQLite viewer, just click on there. You can see that total 6 table is already there, and it is also some data. So these countries, books, that is also coming from that SAP common, because from that common I also used some entity. So that's the reason those is also included here. And my folder for my projects, I created the books, authors, and others, and I also included some data. So this is also showing here. So in future, if you want to change or update something, you can just use the CDS deploy. So it will automatically dump into this database. So now I'm closing and go back to my projects. So again I can check go back here, again I can check watch. So now we can test generic handlers. So that is called that, like you can now see the generic handler with some cap in action. So now what you need to do, if I create and test, I'm creating a test.htp. So now if I data, you can see the request. I'm manually send some request just for the, like that is the browse books, and that is only for the on ID, and that is for the update and order books, those type of things. Actually I am sending by commands or using the execute. So the send request, you can see the send request is there, but if you see that send request is not there, then you have to install the REST client, otherwise you cannot see. So if you go to extension that is called REST, so you need to install this extension. After that you can see the send request. Okay, so now if I browse the books, you can see this is there, this book is there, and if I see only one ID on 01, so I can see that is related just which ID is on 01. So basically in the URL, if you type this one, this will also the same result. Now another interesting part is update. You cannot update because there is error. You cannot update, and if you send like order books, that is also error. I mean that you cannot update because I have created this service as read only. You may remember, because those are the read only, so you can browse but you cannot see, you cannot update the database. So yeah, so that's the reason actually you cannot update, and you will get the error. Now I will use some custom logic. So this custom logic, it's if I create a service like from here, service, if I create service, so get service.json, you can see this is automatically identify get service.js, and I can paste some. So basically there are some there are some logic here. So this logic is like if stock is more than this value 111, then its title will include 11% discount. And there is also some other logic. So now if I browse the books, you can see that now it is showing that these two books, like 251, if I check from the DB viewer books, these two books 251 and 252, these two books is stock is more than 111. So that's the reason this message is showing. But now if we reduce the stock, for example, I just make it 99. So I just update it here. It will load the database and it will show the database. So now you can see that this condition is gone because it's not fulfilled the data. And if you go to the, you can also see because if I come here, it will not change. It will not change the data because actually I didn't deploy. So if I go here, CDS deploy. So now if I refresh data, that is so basically it should be, it should be like this command. So now if I see, it's automatically changed because it is now deployed from this location. Okay, so there's the things. So basically in this tutorial you have learned some basic things. We described about set up a local database and development environment, and also start projects, defined the first project and provide some mock data and add data model, add initial data and test generic handler, and also add some custom logic. So this part is done. So in the next tutorial, I will show you how to deploy a CAP business service to SAP Business Technology Platform, and you will also learn more about it. Thank you.